Awesome. We do record our general meetings, so if you do not wish to be on camera, please take your camera off during the meeting. So again, thank you everyone for joining us for our April AIEA general meeting. It's good to see everyone. So nawa kwahat, hatsoem toya, goigu masik chawi aimda, Kimberly Dankalbigay Akan. My name is Kimberly Dankalbigay. I am of the Kiowa, Caddo, and Pawnee Nations, originally from Oklahoma. I currently reside here in Tucson, Arizona. I work as the Native American Education Program Coordinator for the District of the Amphitheater Public Schools, and I currently sit as the president for the Arizona Indian Education Association. So if you just bear with me a few minutes, I would like to read our land acknowledgement on behalf of AIEA. So beneath the contemporary surface of any site of the United States, there are histories of belonging that have been erased, overlooked, contested, and forgotten, all ways to support ideas like manifest destiny, which justified the conquest of native lands. Between 1776 and 1887, the United States seized over 1.5 billion acres from America's indigenous people by treaty and executive order. There are currently 574 sovereign tribal nations, variously called tribes, nations, bands, pueblos, communities, and native villages, that have a formal nation-to-nation relationship with the U.S. government. There are 334 federally and state-recognized American Indian reservations in 2010. These 574 tribal nations are located across 35 states and within the geographic borders of the United States. Even within the U.S. borders, each tribal nation exercises its own sovereignty. Each of the 574 tribal governments is legally defined as a federally recognized tribal nation. Every community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contributed their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment in time. Some were brought here against their will. Some were drawn to leave their distant homes in hope of a better life. And some have lived on this land for more generations than can be counted. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. We begin this effort to acknowledge what has been buried by honoring the truth. Today we acknowledge the ancestral lands of the Tohono O'odham and the Weme people upon which I currently am. I also acknowledge the homelands of the Acoma O'odham and the Peeposh people upon which the AIEA headquarters stands. We pay respects to their elders past and present. Please take a moment to consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that brings us together here today. And please join us in uncovering such truths at any and all public events. So again, I just want to say thank you for allowing us to read this land acknowledgement. Again, we feel it's very important that we do this at all of our public events that we sponsor. And again, just request that you do the same. So we are going to do a brief introduction for everyone who is here today. And I'd like to start with our executive board. And then I will go down the list as I see it on my end and call out to those who are joining us. So we'll start with our vice president. All
Good
right.
morning. Thank you, Kimberly. Good morning, everyone. My name is Helen Thomas. I am the Vice President of AIEA, and I currently work as the Professional Learning Manager for the National Indian Education Association. I am Hunkpapa Lakota. I'm a citizen of the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe, and it's good to see you all today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you, Helen. All right. I don't see that Sheila's joined just yet, so we will let her join or introduce herself when she is able to join. She is our current treasurer, and our current secretary, Travis Lane, is on travel today. And so he will not be able to make the meeting, but those are our officers for the AIEA. So I'm just going to go down my list. And once I call you, please feel free to unmute and do a short introduction. We'll start with Antoinette.
Hi, yaat bene. She Antoinette Shirley and Shiat sit Najin in the Shalon Twitter Jeet Bashas Chin I currently work at Chandler Unified School District as the Indigenous Student Engagement Specialist, and we're off today, so I am home. So welcome, thank you for letting me introduce myself.
Oh, good to see you, Antoinette. I didn't get to listen in on your radio talk, but I am hoping that it is recorded out and I'll be able to listen in at a later time. But thank you for the work that you do and for being here.
Thank you.
All right. Next we have, and if I say your name wrong, please correct me. Next we have Anissa.
Yeah, that's correct. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yat e Anissa so Yunisha. Bayodin Nishle, Nakadina Bushis Sanjakena Dashiche, Bibatoni Dashanilla. Good morning, everyone. My name's Anissa So. I am Paiute in Navajo, and I currently go to school at Coconino Community College. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Anissa. We're very honored that you are able to be with us here today. Next, we have Camilla.
Hi everyone, sorry I'm on travel today. I am Paolia Hustine. I'm the Federal Programs Director for Pinyan Unified School District. Siya ay nasanginisang at college inibashis team. May experience sa Chedos Ashkir Shinade. Thank you.
Great to see you, Camilla. I follow you on social media, and I really enjoyed that we have the same coffee cups from Durango Joe's in Durango, Colorado. I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh yes, great coffee.
Yes, yes, can't live without it. Thank you for being here. Next, we have Superintendent Oscar.
Uh, good. Well, I guess it's afternoon here. Good morning in the rest of Arizona. Chris Osgard, I'm the superintendent for Pinon Unified School District on the Navajo Nation. And hi, Helen, we miss you.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. All right, next we have Elaine.
My quest, Nukalim Lindo Niega, Don Malindo Muaan, Yuma E, Arizona, Tautunangkwai, Tawuk Nuwu. Good morning, everyone. My name is Elaine Malindo. I am Chemehuevi, a descendant of the Colorado River Indian tribes. I am the professional learning specialist at the Office of Indian Education, and I'm very glad to be here with you all today.
Awesome. Always great to see you, Elaine. Thank you for being here. Next, we have Generita. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome.
My name is Generita Yazi. Na kaidina enshni do tkanisatni bashichin nat otinet kachitni dashiche do tkudichine dashinale. I serve as the Director of Curriculum Instruction and Assessment at Pinon Unified School District. Thank you.
Great to see you. Thank you for being here. Always great to see our Pinon team. Great work. I do want to make note before I call on the next one that we do have our treasurer on the call, but as I mentioned, she's currently on mute right now, but she is joining us by phone. So thank you for being here. Her name is Sheila Cypress. She works with the Scottsdale Unified School District. So thank you for being here, Sheila. And we understand. So feel free to chime in on the chat if you need to. All right, next on my list, I've got Markayla.
Hello, Yat A Shit Markela Shirley Yanashin, Sitna Jenny Nishni, Mutton Day Skizni Bashishin, and Sitna Habits Ashiche. I am Markela Shirley. I go to Chandler. I am a junior and I'm from the Navajo Nation.
Awesome. Great to have you here. Again, we are honored to have all of our students with us today that can be joining us. So thank you so much for being here today. All right, next we got Leanne.
Hello, good morning. My name is Leanne. I'm from the Office of Indian Education. I am the Program Project Specialist over there. It's exciting to be part of this meeting. It's my first time attending this meeting, so thank you.
All right, well, thank you for joining, Leanne. It seems Maybe it is the first time you're here that I'm just so used to seeing you in other meetings. So awesome that you're here. Thank you for being. All right. And then we've got Joaquin.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Joaquin Preston. I'm the Tribal State Policy Director for the National Indian Education Association. Good to see everybody.
Always great to see you, Joaquin. Appreciate you being here as well. All right. So thank you, everyone, for giving your introductions and appreciate that. Let me find my screen to where I can go to the next slide. Here we go. All right, so we're just going to do a quick overview of what our agenda is today. We did our welcome, our land acknowledgement, and our introductions. We will go through our approval of the minutes. We'll have a president's report, go into a treasurer's report. We always make time for Indian education updates. Today is a special meeting. We are actually going to be recognizing our AIEA Scholarship Recipients who are with us today, those that could be here. So this is our scholarship recipient recognition meeting for today. So again, thank you, students. We are very honored that you're able to join us. Then we'll go into our old business. We have a few new business items, and then we always try and make time for program share outs. This is a time where we ask that you just share all of the work that you're doing. If you have any flyers, please feel free to send those to us. We'll be able to get those out to all of our members, to our membership. And then we will adjourn the meeting for today. Just as a reminder that our next meeting will be May 18th. We do meet on the third Friday of every month, with the exception of March and July. March just due to the various spring breaks across the state, and July we dedicate that month solely for our membership drive. This is an annual membership to be a part of the Arizona Indian Education Association. We encourage you, if you are not a member, to please join us. We offer great benefits, as well as significant discounts to any of our events that we host. And so we do have a website, which we will share shortly. And the application is available on the website. You can do a paper application, or you can do the application online. We've also excited because we're able to accept payment online now. So again, thank you so much for being here with us, and appreciate your time and making time to be here with us. Next, we have our approval of the minutes. I just want to make note that as I mentioned before we actually got started, our secretary is away on travel and was not able to complete the meeting minutes in time for this meeting. So he requested to have our January 17th and February 21st meeting minutes to be tabled to our May meeting. So I would just need to call for a motion to table those meeting minutes. Is there anyone who would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to table the minutes until our May meeting.
Appreciate that, Helen. There is a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
This is Joaquin. I second.
Awesome. Thank you, Joaquin. Is there any further discussion or questions? If there is none, I'd like to take a vote. All those in favor, please say aye or thumbs up.
Aye.
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 Awesome. All those opposed, like sign. Any abstentions, like sign. Motion passed. Thank you, members. I will let Travis know he can be relieved for this month, and he will get the meeting minutes. We will get those out to you in a timely manner before our May meeting, and plenty of time for you to review those. So if you see any discrepancies or any edits that need to be done, we can bring them to the May meeting at that time. So again, thank you for that. Next on our agenda, we've got the president's report. So I've just got a few items because I do want to save plenty of time for our students who are graciously taking time out to join us. Locally, I did have something on here for local, but as I mentioned, I was having technical difficulties that I lost my entire script for today. So I'm trying to go by memory of what I wanted to share. I do have a few items that I remembered. But locally, I just wanted to mention The Office of Indian Education has released their Tribal Regalia Toolkit. I'm not going to say too much about it because I'm sure that'll be provided in their OIE update coming up shortly. But there is a toolkit for families and students, and they've also got a separate toolkit for administrators and governing boards. So thank you, OIE team. I had a chance to review it, and a phenomenal job. So thank you, just in time for graduations that are coming out in May next month. So this is the perfect time to have that out to share among your school districts. So thank you, team, for getting that out right away. Statewide, just want to mention that the Arizona Johnson O'Malley Quarterly Forum is held on a quarterly basis. So our next meeting for the forum will be held on April 24th, which will be next Thursday. Those of you who do receive JOM funds are always welcome to be a part of this forum. We do have the Bureau of Indian Education that comes and assists us during that time. They answer questions and share out any updates from their office. I anticipate that next week's going to be very inquiring because of what's happening on a national level and a federal level. And so I'm sure we'll have plenty of updates for that next week. And so I encourage you, if you are receiving JOM funds, or if you just work with Native students in general and would like more information about the JOM fund and the program, you're always welcome to join us. The link for signing up for that forum, I will drop in the chat here. If you are not receiving any updates for this and would like to, just click the link. The OIE currently houses that link. So if you sign up, you'll be able to receive all the meeting updates as well as any materials that are shared during that time. But the purpose of this forum is a forum for all JOM contractors, as I mentioned, in Arizona, to unite and discuss any challenges with JOM, to gain guidance, and to share best practices. Collectively, the forum is able to document support needs within JOMA and BIE. This forum provides an opportunity to collaborate in creating a unified, consistent support structure for Arizona Indigenous students. Although the forum is geared toward JOM contractors, all stakeholders in Indian education are welcome to attend. Again, we meet on a quarterly basis. The forums are held on the fourth Thursday in January, April, July, and October. The forums are held from 9 a.m. in the morning until 12 p.m. noontime. Although it seems quite a long time, it goes by really fast. And so we do offer time for networking for any questions that participants may have in relation to the funds or the program itself. And so it's a great opportunity. And so again, if you'd like to join in, please feel free to sign up. The Region 1 website, which is also the link that is shared, houses all of the past recordings, materials that were shared. We do use online tools such as the Wakelet and the Padlet. Those links are also available on the Region 1 website. Feel free to browse through that, and you'll find all the information you need. We do highlight topics every year specifically for each of the meeting times. So in January, we focused on guidance and resources. This month, we're going to focus on funding uses. And then July, we're focusing on student count. And then October, we focus on parent involvement. And we focus on that during that time because it's when school starts back up, and we have a lot of our IECs, our Indian Education Committees, that come together during that time, and we're here and available to answer and focus upon any questions they may have. So again, the next Arizona JOM Forum will be held next Thursday, April 24th. Just to make note, the JOM Annual Conference is coming up. I'll share more information about that during the Indian Education updates for that as well. But just to take note that conference will be held November 8th through the 10th. It's going to be a little bit later than usual, but we're still going to hold it this year. So please mark your calendars for that. I'll share more information later on the agenda. I did want to share that the National Indian Health Board urges the Human and Health Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to reject devastating cuts to Indian Health Service. The National Indian Health Board is calling on Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to immediately reject proposed budget cuts to the IHS included in the Office of Management and Budget's passback for the Department of Health and Human Services. The proposal would slash nearly 30% from the IHS-based funding end advance appropriations, halt funding for healthcare and sanitation facility construction, restrict tribal self-governance opportunities, and cut nearly $900 million in critical services and facility support in fiscal year 26. Further budget reductions would cripple the system and violate the federal government's trust and treaty obligations to tribal nations. The National Indian Health Board stands ready to work with Secretary Kennedy and all federal partners to ensure the survival and strength of the Indian Health Service and uphold the federal trust responsibility. I shared this information during these times during my report because it is important that these directly affect our families and our students that we currently work with. So I do want to keep everyone updated on what is happening also at a national level. I did drop a link in the chat if you want to read the letter and more information in regard to this. Next, tribal organizations file amicus brief to shine light on the history of federal Indian boarding schools and tribal sovereignty and education. On April 7th, the National Congress of American Indians, the National Native American Boarding School Healing Coalition, and the Association on American Indian Affairs filed an amicus brief in Oklahoma statewide charter school board versus Drummond and St. Isidore of Seville Catholic Virtual School versus Drummond, both on appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. The Oklahoma statewide charter school board and the Catholic school argue that the federal government has a longstanding tradition of funding religious education. I thought this was interesting, pointing to federal Indian boarding schools and treaties with tribal nations as evidence that such funding does not violate the U.S. Constitution's principle of separation of church and state. So, the amicus brief seeks to clarify the federal Indian boarding schools were a part of the federal government's Indian civilization policy that sought to forcibly assimilate Indian children by converting them to Christianity. The brief also explains the difference between tribal nations directing the United States to spend tribal money on Indian education and federal spending of public money for the religious education of Indians. The tribal organizations further explained that neither example should be mischaracterized or misused to justify federal funding for religious education today. So this is actually happening in my home state, but it is at the U.S. Supreme Court. So whatever decisions are made there will set precedents for other schools across Indian country. So it's really important to keep abreast of what is happening again on the national level. And finally, I just wanted to share that Indian country advocacy is happening. There are recent coalition letters. There's a recent coalition of national Native advocacy organizations, including the National Congress of American Indians, that sent a series of letters to federal officials to educate and urge them to protect legally mandated tribal programs from harm while implementing policy priorities. And so I know that for AIEA, we recently signed on to a letter that was sponsored by the National Indian Education Association. We hopped on board because it is important that these funds directly impact our association and the students that we currently work with, as well as the programs that are funded through those. And so more information will be shared, I'm sure, in Joaquin's report coming up. So those are just a few of the items I wanted to highlight today, just to keep you updated on what is happening. I try and get and pull a lot of education information as well as what will directly affect our students and families. And so please visit more information for the following, please visit the following for more information and for AIEA current event and activity updates. And Helen, if you don't mind just sharing our website in there, I forget to add it on to this. And so I will put it on for April, so it'll be easier. But in conclusion, AIEA continues to create safe spaces for our membership to be heard. We will also continue to work with allies and partners to make meaningful and measurable change within our organization and society as a whole, in keeping with our mission to provide research and resources to Arizona schools for American Indian students to achieve academic excellence through culturally responsive education. So again, thank you for your time for all those who are attending our April AIEA general meeting, and we always welcome you back at any time. Are there any questions? I know that's a lot of information, but should you have any questions after the meeting, please feel free to email us and let us know. All right, if there are none, we will go directly into our treasurer's report. And again,
I'm here now.
Oh, okay. All right, well, I'll turn it over to Sheila, our treasurer. I know that Travis had emailed us, but I'll let you share out that information.
Okay, for our statement account through the end of March, we're looking at in our savings, we have $20,501.09. And currently in our checking account, we have $1,282.75. Now, we also had to move we moved, I think it was 2,000 out of our savings this month to put into the checking as we did the checks for our 3 scholarship recipients. So I just wanted to, well, we'll have an updated accounting of that at our next meeting, but that's where we are right before we started moving the money. So other than that, that's, just keep on putting in your membership fees if you have not joined yet. You've got the options there. We have the Zelle, which is great. I'd like to really do a props out to Helen for doing a lot of backwoods work there for us on that. She's our tech guru. So, but that's where we are with our funding. So we're hoping to generate a little bit more funding when we start moving more into our youth camps and so forth. So that's all I have for today.
Awesome. Thank you, Sheila. Appreciate that quick report. And we always try and keep our membership updated on our funds. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Sheila's always available to answer any questions. So, all right. Are there any questions? Sheila, I will be sending you a receipt, and then I also need to follow up on an NIEA receipt from October, but I can email you some information in regard to that as well. But that's for a hotel receipt, and then also our nonprofit report that we do in December. So I'll send you some updates for that.
Okay.
All right, if there's no further questions, we will move on in our agenda. This is where we come to our Indian education updates. We always want to provide time for our updates from a local and national level. And so first up, we have our partners with the Office of Indian Education. And I'm not sure who to call on for this one, so I'm just going to turn it over to our OIE team.
Thank you. I'm going to be presenting, and then I'm going to be heading out after that. Leanne's going to stay for the remainder of the meeting. But since we will be speaking quite a bit on the toolkit, I am the one that can answer the questions since I led the development of the documents. So, all right. A couple of quick announcements before that. Is everyone seeing my screen? Perfect. Okay, so we want to just update you all on the PD that we have going on. So we have our Indigenous STEM project that we're in the middle of right now. We had our educator showcase in March. It was very successful. We had 80 people in the audience from all over the state. And so we're really excited about the 3 educators that we had. We had a educator from Skyline representing the Gila River Indian community. We had a educator from Sanders, so up north. And then we had another educator from White Mountain Apache. So we're grateful that we had so much representation. And so the next thing that is going to be coming up is our Indigenous STEM Symposium. We are a little over half filled. We're accepting 100 educators. And so we are going to be taking registration up until the 25th. So time is running out. If you could help us get the word out that that we need to get them in. And the reason for that is that we want to get a account for food. They can find all of the information on our website. I'm trying to drop all these things in. And so that link is right here for you. That will give you information about the agenda. It will give you information about the travel supports that we have available, and you'll be able to get into ADE Connect to get yourself those continuing education units as well. So our keynote for that, it's a 2-day event, but both days are optional. You can attend either or if needed. The keynote for Sunday night is Dr. Carletta Chief. Our virtual event that is after that is our STEM Professionals panel. And so here's the QR code for you to register for that. It's happening on May 6th at 5 p.m. so that all of the educators and students can be out of school. We have Dr. Crystal Lee, who is going to be coming to us from United Natives, Bitty Baby Foods. So Zach Ben will be coming to share about their business. And Cheryl Pelzotti is a water engineer at White Mountain Apache. And so she will be talking to us about water and water conservation and water rights. All that can be found on the link that I just dropped. And so as Kim shared, we've just released the 2 tribal regalia toolkits. Our second document came out 2 days ago. And so it is the Tribal Regalia Graduation Toolkit for Students and Families. And this document here has been renamed actually to the Tribal Regalia Graduation Toolkit for School and District Administrators and Governing Boards. It's a giant mouthful. But that way, people are well aware of who the audience is for both of those documents. So for the students and families, it's a 40-plus page document. Some of the highlights in it is that there is a letter from Superintendent of Schools, Tom Horn. It is not a letter of endorsement, but still a letter really to encourage the utilization of it. And so it can be an implied endorsement. He really is the one that spurred this. It started with a conversation with the Department of Education last year. And so when they came to him and asked what we would do to avoid situations such as the one that happened in New Mexico, he said that the Office of Indian Education would get working on a resource to help get the word out about ARS 15-348, which is the statute that says that we are legally required to wear tribal regalia at graduation. And so another great thing about the document is there is state and federal policy that is all clearly listed in it. So the language is there for students and families that explain ARS 15-348, as well as other Arizona policy that backs the statute, and then also federal policy such as Freedom of Religion Act that they could use in support of the wearing of their tribal regalia. We have many examples of tribal regalia in this document. We began by reaching out to all 22 tribes, and so specifically their tribal education departments and tribal leadership to gather photos. From there, we really leaned into other partners like our IEAC to gather those photos. We showed up at Indigenous youth events to ask them if they were willing to allow us to take photos, and ended up even popping into a few graduations to just see if we could get as many photos as possible to represent all the corners of Arizona. We have a decision-making chart in this document that helps the family know what to do once they make the decision to wear tribal regalia, and then what to do next if they run into barriers, with that decision-making chart really being OIE as their final contact, because we want to make sure that we can, spare them the burden of seeking legal support, and we do have authority to be able to support them on making sure that they get to wear their tribal regalia that day. We have a fillable letter that is not from us, it's from the ACLU, but it's something they can just plug in their information, print out, and send. And other state and national resources for Indigenous students and families that they can utilize that might be able to support them with legal matters and also with pursuing higher education. It's only been out for a little bit, but we've already got some success stories. To speak to one of the final youth council mentors, and she shared that she had sent it out to their students, and one of the families merely sent the link for the document to the school and said, I just received this. My family has decided that we will be wearing tribal regalia. And immediately there was a reply from the school that says, sounds good to us. And this was a school that had in previous years been pretty resistant to it. So already that's a big win because of the ease that that family was able to get a yes. In the Tribal Regalia Graduation Toolkit for the school district administrators and governing boards, I apologize for this graphic not having the correct title. We ended up changing it just yesterday. The purpose of this document isn't really to so much go out to the community. We're gearing this one to go directly to the AIEAs, and that's including public and charter schools. So again, some of the highlights, and this is another letter from Superintendent Horn sharing that that he did encourage the office in the making of this. And we have state and federal policy that protects the right to wear tribal regalia in graduation ceremonies. Again, there for them, the same examples of tribal regalia. We try to get as many different examples as possible to just also demonstrate that that it's not going to all look one way, and that even every tribal community an individual may have a different interpretation of their regalia, and that is okay. They still need to be able to wear that version of their tribal regalia, because there isn't anyone that can say whether or not something officially qualifies as such. The same fillable letter is here, but the purpose of that is just to notify them you may be seeing a letter that looks similar to this, and this is where it's coming from. We also have two checklists in here. It's a checklist for school boards and a checklist for schools. What it helps to walk a school board through is checking their dress code policy, making sure that the language in it aligns with ARS 15348. And if it does not, kind of some reflection prompts to think about what they can do to make sure that that changes before graduation. For the schools, the checklist is mostly about training and monitoring of the staff and volunteer on that day. Do they know the statute? Do they know their school district's dress code policy? Has there been training? Has everybody, including the volunteers, been trained? And then who is going to be monitoring on the day of graduation to make sure that all of this is happening well? And we also have resources regarding policy and penalty around removing eagle feathers. There is the Bald and Golden Eagle Act of 1940 that protects Native American people and the right to wear eagle feather and eagle parts. This resource that we provide helps schools understand that that is a non-transferable right, and the second someone removes an eagle feather from a student, they now are breaking the law and face a penalty of up to $200,000. And so just a lot of language around that to be able to make sure that everybody has a safe and celebratory graduation experience. So I'm going to drop a link to our Tribal Regalia page on our website. We have the public Canva link for that, it's just more it's more memory friendly for somebody that's trying to access it from their phone. And now we also have a compressed PDF version that they can download and print out. Some of the future efforts we have around this is we are going to be making a little video introduction to put on the website about what they can find in both toolkits. We're going to be developing a FAQ to answer some of the questions that have been coming up already. Much of it is around beaded caps, and so we're going to have that FAQ soon. We are going to increase our marketing. We've got this QR code here that we're hoping to be able to get onto some of the slide decks in places like Phoenix Indian Medical Center, Native Health, so that we can be part of kind of those promotional slide decks they have going on in their lobbies, as well as we're going to be making printed copies and asking our key partners to keep them in their lobbies where there are high traffic for Indigenous families. And I think that's all I have got.
Awesome. Thank you, Elaine. Always and appreciate all the updates you provide for us every month from your office. Just one note, I'm really excited. If you haven't seen the toolkit yet, I'm very honored to be one of the photos in the toolkit featured wearing my regalia here at the school district. But I just received the email from one of my old principals from years back. He's now somewhere here in Tucson with the JTED program, but he just emailed and said he was really happy to see it. So he actually received it too. As a non-native ally, I was very happy to hear from him because it's been years since I've actually heard from him. So the toolkit is getting out there and people are reading it. So great job, OIE team. Appreciate the efforts you do and ensuring that our students do have that resource in order to wear their regalia during that honorable milestone on their educational journey. So thank you so much for sharing that. Are there any questions for the OIE team at this time?
I don't have a question, but this is Antoinette. When I saw the toolkit, I thought it was really good. I was like so excited. I was actually creating something similar to this just because our school district has questions. The first year I was there, I did hear some families tell me that they were turned away. And then my second year at the district, um, I was really advocating because I received the flyer with these meetings. And I sent that out and kind of was like, I need to get this approved before it could be sent out. And then this toolkit came out and it was really interesting. But then I started right away because we have 6 high schools and some families already brought to my attention that in their graduation information, it specifically says that your cap and gown cannot be altered in any way. You must wear the school approved cap and gown, and caps cannot be decorated in any way. So I immediately started researching and I did see that. So just so you are aware, I'm going to advocate. And so I don't know, you guys might hear something. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, no, and that the reason for the FAQ is in these situations, again, like immediately the concern was around those beaded caps, even though in the toolkit beading is covered and there is language around that beading shows up on clothing, on on other items. I think that it needs to be really specifically noted that that is to include that cap. So we're going to get that out onto our website and we'll keep the community updated on that so we can refer to that as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Antoinette. Are there any other comments or questions?
I have a quick comment and an ask, if that's okay. Kimberly, this is Lynanne. Hi, everybody.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Great to see you all on here. Well, first and foremost, I just want to give major kudos to Elaine for putting this all together. I know how much time, energy, effort, probably tears. You should see the keyboard on her laptop. You can't even see the letters anymore. But just want to say thank you so much, to Elaine for doing that. Just give her that acknowledgement. And then just an ask to all of you as our partners, our school districts. Please share this out with whatever, contacts you have, whether it's within organizations or school districts. Looking at Superintendent Oscard right now, sharing it with your colleagues and your counterparts. And I know, a lot on tribal lands, this tends to, in high density schools may not be, something that really gets questioned, but we do, want to be, to Kim's point, like good allies across the state, because we do have students in many, many other school districts across the state where they may be just one of a handful of Native students in that school or district. And so I'm just looking at you all and hoping that you're able to just share this out with whatever contacts that you have. And so we're always here to support. If it does get to the level of a school or district still not allowing students and still, not following the guidance, basically not following the law, you can always give us a call. Just know that the entire Arizona Department of Education, will back the student and family on this. So thank you all, and hope you have a good rest of your meeting.
Awesome. Thank you, Lennon. Always great to see you as well. Appreciate you being here and for sharing that comment and sentiment on behalf of our Indigenous students across the state. I just wanted to make one comment in what Antoinette was mentioning for the beaded caps. One thing that I really share and emphasize within our school district here in Amphi is that even though we do have tribal regalia that we do wear, very significant, that we have worn since time immemorial, just like the rest of the world, we are not archaic, we are not relic of the past, that we are here, we are present, we are today, and that we do modernize and update the clothing that we wear also. And so if that includes our beaded caps to show what strength we have in honoring where we come from for those tribes that do wear beaded regalia, which I come from as a Plains tribe. It's very significant, holds a very significant meaning specifically for the different designs and the colors that go into that artwork. And so, just to help advocate, there's so much more we can advocate for, and ensuring our students do get the appropriate attire to wear during this very honorable moment for them. And so thank you, educators, for those of you who are on this call, who are out there advocating day in and day out on a daily basis. We don't have 9-to-5 jobs. It's an all day, everyday job. So thank you for the work that you do and the effort you provide. So, all right. Any other questions? We could go on and on with this very important topic. All right. Thank you, IE team, for that update. Appreciate you always willing to be here every month and sharing out all of the updates we have for the awesome work that you do on a state level. All right. Next, we will go into a national realm with our National Indian Education Association, and we always welcome Joaquin to share out the updates that he has for us every month. So I'm going to turn this time over to our good friend Joaquin.
Yeah, thank you, Lynanne. And so before I lose this in the updates, I did want to drop some links into the chat. NIEA 56th Annual Convention registration is open, so want to drop a link to that in the chat. We are in Spokane, Washington, October 8th through the 11th. And also on October 8th, we'll be having our 4th annual Educator Day, no cost to participants other than your travel getting there if you need to travel to get there. Again, it's a free event on October 8th. There is a separate registration for these two, for the convention and trade show and for the educator day. So just want to make sure if you do plan on attending both events that you do that separate registration. And so I'm also going to put in a link for our federal policy updates. If you have not seen our page yet, there's some administrative updates. We update it whenever there are major federal actions going on. And lastly, I'm going to put in our email address for if you need to get in contact with NIEA, share any updates or stories on recent policy decisions, whether that be any staffing changes, anything going on, you're seeing any funding streams, grant programs that are being affected by any policy changes, then we want you to get in contact with us because it's really helpful. We are usually just looking at documents, hearing things here and there, but to get that real on the ground, those real on the ground stories of how some of these policy decisions are affecting you really helps us in our advocacy efforts and really helps us to investigate some of these things you're seeing. So please don't hesitate to get in contact with us. So there's been a lot going on the federal level, especially since the last time I gave updates. The big item, I think, is the closing of the Department of Education. I know since the confirmation of Secretary Linda McMahon, there have been a number of reduction in force actions. So you probably heard 50% of the Department of Education staff has been cut. The Office of Indian Education, Office of Alaska Native Education, and Office of Native Hawaiian Education, to our knowledge, have not been affected. However, there was a staff member who was let go who does work on the National Native Education Study. And so we are working with the Senate Committee of Indian Affairs to see if we can get that person reinstated. But Kim, I will send you kind of a write-up on all this because I have quite a few links and I don't want to, I've already put quite a lot of links in the chat already, so I'm trying not to clutter it up too much. But that was the first actions we saw. And then we saw the Executive Order 14242, Improving Education Outcomes by Empowering Parents, States, and Communities. So this directs Secretary Linda McMahon to the maximum extent appropriate and permitted by law to take all necessary steps to close the Department of Education. Now, what that means practically for you all on the ground, we're primarily talking Title VI and impact aid, and the question of how that might affect closing Department of Education. We are actually unsure at this moment because the actual policy blueprint for what it means to close the Department of Education is not out there yet. Now, there are a couple of things that we have seen. There are a couple of authorities that the Secretary of the Department of Education have. So I will actually drop this. It's a kind of a technical document, but if you are really interested in getting into the weeds of what the administration can do immediately, this is a congressional report on the authorities of the Secretary under the Department of Education Reorganization Act. To put it bluntly, the Department of Education cannot be closed. You've probably heard this a couple of times, that it would take an act of Congress to actually close the entire department, that being because the department was created by Congress in 1979. And in order to reach the threshold of votes needed in the Senate, which would be 60, to overcome what we commonly refer to as the filibuster, it would require a 60-vote majority for those who for the Republican Party, or just in general, those who are supporting the closing of the Department of Education. So unless something drastic happens in the midterms, we do not expect any major attempt to close or restructure the Department of Education outside of what the authority of Secretary Linda McMahon has. And so Right now, there is one proposal out there. Senator Mike Rounds from South Dakota has introduced a bill that gives us some idea of what might happen under the closing of Department of Education for Title VI and impact aid specifically. Under this proposal, this is kind of what we've seen throughout history as well when there's been attempts to close the Department of Education, that the Office of Indian Education would be reorganized under the Department of Interior, the Bureau of Indian Education, and the impact aid under this proposal would be placed under the Department of Defense. We've also seen proposals placing the impact aid administration under the Health and Human Services as well as the Department of the Interior. So again, we don't have a crystal ball to say exactly what might happen under these proposals, but we do have a couple of positive signs, at least for the Office of Indian Education, Title VI, and Title VII impact aid, that those particular titles, authorities, funding streams have been signaled to be preserved, just reorganized under different agencies. There are, of course, concerns under those reorganizations because of the massive reductions in force all across the federal government and the placing of these new authorities under different agencies who may have no experience managing these particular fund streams and administrating those particular administrative levers that come with them. So we continue to monitor this. We do know that the Senate Help Committee is also going to propose another bill to close the Department of Education, but that should indicate to all of us that the Republican Party does not have a singular vision. We have competing proposals on how to close the Department of Education. So what that might indicate to us is that there really will be no major actions from the Republican Party because there are those competing proposals and lack of support for any singular vision in the Republican Party. So that is a silver lining to that. NIEA, we are asking for tribal consultation with the, should any movement on the Department of Education affect anything in Indian country. There are a number of carve-outs for BIE, a number of different formula funds, of course, Title I being the one that I think is most talked about in mainstream media. But NIEA continues to advocate for tribal consultation should any of these particular programs be hit by any restructuring, reorganizing. Our executive director and federal policy director did meet with the Deputy Secretary of Education, and they did receive some verbal reassurances that the Secretary Linda McMahon does understand the treaty and trust obligation, and that the messaging of returning education back to the states should actually be returning education back to states and tribes. We more than likely will not see that in writing, but NIEA is asking for some type of guidance through a secretarial order from Secretary Linda McMahon or from the Department of Education's General Counsel, kind of outlaying that language and giving that direction to the department. So that's probably the biggest thing that's been happening. There's a lot of more intricate details to what's happening at the Department of Education, but we're not expecting to see any major action at this point. But we do know that that is a continuing conversation and something we continue to advocate on. So the other major concern has been reductions in force with the BIE, particularly Haskell and SIPI. So you might have seen the Native American Rights Fund sued the Department of Interior and BIE over reductions in force with the BIE. A number of tribes and students at Haskell and SIPI filed that lawsuit on behalf of them. And just last month as well, 2 court orders from federal judges ordered that federal workers who were laid off be reinstated. And so through that action, 37 employees from Haskell and 18 from SIPI who were laid off were reinstated or at least offered their positions back. However, the court order does not apply to staff who took resignation offers to get those positions back. So we're still kind of wait and see mode what will happen long term with that, with those particular court orders. But as of now, those staff members have been reinstated at Haskell and SIPI. So the other more late breaking news has been health and human services related with Head Start. I'm going to drop one more link into the chat. And this is regarding the president's budget proposal. You may have heard that the Head Start in particular has been zeroed out in the president's budget proposal. Where we're actually at with the construction of the budget is in what we call the pushback phase. So this is where the Department of Health and Human Services has created a budget saying what they need, their funding levels that they believe they need to carry out their services and programs. And they have delivered that to OMB. And OMB then goes in and redline marks up that budget proposal and delivers it back to Health and Human Services. So that's the phase of the budget process we're in. And with the Office of Management and Budget zeroed out Health and Human Services and essentially the entire agencies for children and families, which Head Start falls under. So Head Start has not been zeroed out, but it has been zeroed out in the budget process. So the Department of Health and Human Services more than likely will restore that funding. But again, we are expecting, because this is one of the president's priorities in returning education back to the states, will likely zero out Head Start or at least decrease funding again before delivering the budget proposal to Congress. So again, it will be up to Congress to make that final decision on how Head Start is funded. NIEA's position on this is that we do believe that any program or service under Health and Human Services is vulnerable to funding cuts. But again, it'll be advocacy on Congress, who you may have heard the term, the power of the purse lies with Congress. So it'll be up to Congress to essentially decide on how Head Start gets funded, not the president. So we are continuing to monitor that. We know there's a lot of concerns around Head Start. Luckily, a lot of Republican offices have indicated that they will push back on the president's budget request if it does not match up with their priorities. And we know that Head Start is one of those programs that a lot of Republican constituents are also concerned about. So again, this will come down to an advocacy effort with Congress. Outside of that, there is one more major update. That's Executive Order 14191, expanding educational freedoms and opportunities for families. Section 7 of that executive order directs the Secretary of Interior to review any available mechanisms under which families and students eligible to attend BIE schools may use federal funding for education options of their choice. A lot of the times we have heard this as vouchering the BIE, and there was a tribal consultation held on March 14th to gather comments and input to develop a school choice plan. And the tribal leaders pretty resoundingly said there is no available mechanism, no available funding stream to actually develop a school choice model under the BIE. However, we do know that the Secretary of Interior Burgum does have a plan that will be submitted. I believe it was submitted. It's going to be submitted today, if I'm not mistaken, if not next week, and that the plan will be available for review by tribal leaders next week. And so we will keep you updated, make sure that there is consultation efforts around that. And having said that, there is a number of tribal Indian Affairs and BIA and BIE tribal consultations happening. So I will put that nothing in person in Arizona, but there are a number of virtual sessions that you all can jump into. This is primarily around the Reduction in Force Department of Government Efficiency Workforce Optimization Initiatives, but they will be covering other a variety of other topics related to the BIA and BIE. And so those are the major things. There's a lot more going on, but I do not want to take up so much time. Again, Kim, I have this with a bunch of other links already typed up, so I will share that with you to get out to the membership. So unless there's any questions, those are my updates this month.
Thank you, Joaquin. I know that's quite a bit of information, but again, we usually send out a follow-up email with any links that are shared during the meeting, as well as any flyers that are shared, just to keep our members updated for those who could not make the meeting or are not fast typers like some of us is. So we do want to ensure that you get those follow-up links. So thank you, Joaquin, for getting all that together. You always do an excellent job on putting them in one-pagers for us, and so appreciate that. Are there any questions for Joaquin or any comments? I know it's a lot to process, but we've got a lot going on. And as we mentioned, it's a continual work, doing advocacy work on behalf of our Native students and families.
Kimberly, I have something really quickly, just wanted to bring
yes, Lynn.
attention. And I don't know if Joaquin, if you've been aware of this, but with all of the Title VI, and that's not to get it mixed up with Title VI as we know, as most of us know it, right, as being the Indian education funding, or American Indian, Alaska Native, Hawaiian funding for students. Not that Title VI, but in regards to the civil rights, right? That all school districts now are going, or any entity, not just school districts, any entity receiving federal funds or federal dollars through the Arizona Department of Education is now being required to sign off on an assurance, basically stating that they will not go against that. I don't know if you've looked into that at all, but one of the things that I've mentioned to our grants management team is, one, just the potential confusion between both Title VIs, right? And then two, I know obviously it specifically says in there that you cannot, discriminate. Basically, you can't like select people or not select people because of race, national origin, all of the protected categories. And so what I have asked, and I need to have a further conversation with them, but really it's to include a note in there that if your funding source is slated specifically for a group of students, including if it's specific to their race or ethnicity, right? Like the funding, the three that you listed. I know Impact Aid is not just for Native students, but they, that is one of the categories, one of the eligible, right, categories. And then of course, Title VI and Johnson O'Malley is the other one. And so I'm trying to get them to put some kind of a note in there that says, if your funding is slated for a specific group, even if it is based on the race and ethnicity, that you still only utilize it for those purposes, because it can be read the other way where it says you cannot discriminate against any race or ethnicity. I don't want our schools and districts to think that that means they now have to use or can use Title VI and JOM funding for all other races and ethnicities. So Joaquin, I don't know if that's something on you all's end where maybe clarifying some of that information and putting that out to the field even could be really helpful. I mean, AIEA as well. I just can see some of the confusion that can happen. And I don't. So I'm trying to do what I can on our end, but you guys have a much greater reach. So maybe just ensuring that those type of misconceptions or misunderstandings don't occur.
No, thank you, Lynn. That's a really good point. That's something we're working on in terms of clarifying some of the language, some of the funding streams that are out there. But I think to your specific point about especially the Title VI's, it does, even for me, require some context in the conversation or whatever it may be to know exactly which Title VI we're talking about sometimes. And so that's a very good point, and I think that's something we can put on our workload as we are we're developing a number of guidance documents, one pagers, infographics right now, and that's something I can put on my to-do list next week. See if we can put something together pretty quick, because I think that's a really good point.
And then another really quickly, another anomaly that's come along with that is we fund 2 tribes, right, through the Department of Education. So we're going to have the conversation with those tribes, because I'm going to be interested to see if they refuse to sign that document. I mean, they may just sign it. I don't know.
Right.
But that's going to be a conversation. That I'm definitely interested in having with them.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be interested in what the outcome of that is.
All right, we'll be in touch. We'll let you know.
Okay. Thank you, Linan.
Great comments and questions. Thank you for sharing that and for bringing that point up, Linan. I know we also received Title VI funding here for our school district, which is the American Indian Alaska Native federal funds that comes out of the Office of Indian Education. And so one point on that I forgot to mention during my president's report, if you are receiving Title VI funds, Part 2 is currently open. And as Joaquin mentioned with the Office of Indian Education, we've also been reaffirmed that we are going to be receiving funding this year. So that will be dispersed out sometime over the summer. But Part 2 actually closes on May 9th. So be sure and get your information in without your goals, objectives, what your program's going to be doing, the remaining part of your application for your Title VI funds. So please ensure that you get that in a timely manner as well. They have recorded webinars that are available if you have any questions for that. But thank you for bringing that up again, Linan. I think it's really important that we decipher what all these legal terms are and the jargon and the language that is used, so that our parents can understand exactly what this is and what it means affecting their students while they're doing their educational journeys. So appreciate that point.
Kim, I have a quick
Yes.
question for you.
Sure.
If you're seeing anything with JOM funding, we've received a number of reports that the spring funding is delayed. We think it might be related to the recent continuing resolution that was signed last month. Typically, we see some delayed funding, but it's starting to get to the point where we're starting to get a little concerned, because we've heard it from multiple regions, but also it's getting a little late on for the continuing resolution to be the delay. So I'm just seeing if you've heard anything regarding JOM funding being released.
We have not heard that they're not going to be released. We have been reassured again from Spike's office that would be coming to the programs. But Linan, you have your hand up, so you may have more information available as well.
Yes, that's good timing. I actually just realized I don't have my camera on. Hi, everybody. Perfect timing, not that I have a ton of information, but I actually talked to Travis Clark yesterday. It was really in regards to, just as a contractor, I think National Johnson O'Malley will be having a conversation with him at another time. But what we had discussed and what he shared with me yesterday is, yes, that the continuing resolutions 1 and 2 have been dispersed. And he said in regards to continuing resolution 3, he said, we don't, basically the money shows up in our account, and that's when we know we can disperse funds. So at this time, he doesn't have even an idea of when that might happen. He said he's fairly confident that they're going to get the funding. It's just a matter of waiting for it to arrive, basically. One of the points that he made, though, and this is going to be really important for organizations or anybody that's doing advocacy work to remember, right, is that the Appropriations Committee in Congress is going to be the one you're going to want to target and advocate. That's where the advocacy needs to happen. And at this time, Tom Cole is the chair of the Appropriations Committee. He is from Oklahoma. And I believe in that sense, Travis feels comfortable in that JOM is pretty secure. because JOM is so huge in Oklahoma. That's where a majority of their contractors are, right, in Oklahoma. And so he said, really hoping that Tom Cole stays in that leadership position for that reason, I think. But again, that's speaking specifically to JOM funding. So he doesn't and hasn't heard anything in the way of there's the danger to JOM. And so I don't know if that's helpful at all, but that's the update that I received just as of yesterday.
No, that is helpful, Linan. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Yep, and that's pretty much what we've been told on the national as a board, the same thing as well. And so I think we're kind of all on the same page right now, but of course, if there's any updates that come along, we will definitely share those out to our programs. So thank you for asking, Joaquin. And thank you for sharing, Linan.
Just really quickly on that point, another thing he shared, which I thought was interesting, is that the student count. So this year's amounts still not based on the student count. That won't be until next year's funding. This year's funding is still based on 1995 counts. They're still making that shift right now. And just so you all know, that number went from about 200,000 to over 300,000. So the student count did raise up over 100,000. Now, what that means, though, is that for some entities and some contracts, some went up and some went down. So there have been some significant losses for those that have had a drop in their student count, but they're not going to, for at least next fiscal year, they're not going to drop that amount by more than 10% per pupil cost, or however they figure that out. But that's only for the next fiscal year. After that, I think they're going to go by the actual student counts that are reported.
Yeah, and that's from what we hear too, that those counts will be implemented starting in fiscal year 26. Yep. Good points. Thank you for bringing those up and to our attention. Any other comments or questions? All right. As always, if you have any questions for any of our invited guests, please feel free to email us. We will get those questions to them. They've also shared their contact information prior, and so we will definitely get those questions to those who have them. All right. If there's none others, thank you again, OIE and NIEA, for always being here and available for our AIEA membership to bring those important updates for Indian education across the country and across the state. Sincerely appreciate you making the time to be here and sharing those out. All right, so we will move on because we do have some invited guests with us. And so we come to a moment in our meeting where we want to give homage and honor to students who have applied for our scholarship. Every year we put out a scholarship. To date, we put out a scholarship every year for our students because we know how difficult it is to financially, how that financial burden sometimes weighs up on them and stresses them out. So this is one way we can support our Native students who are seeking education, our high school students and those who are seeking higher education in colleges or universities or community schools. And so at this time, our lead on this was our Secretary Travis Lane, but again, as I mentioned, he is out on travel. And so I am going to turn it over to our Vice President, Ms. Helen Thomas, to share out some information and to acknowledge our students that are here with us today. So Helen, I'm going to turn this time over to you.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. And thank you again, not only to the students that are here, but to everyone that shared out information about the scholarship, that made sure that students across the state were aware of this opportunity. We want to start by just sharing a little bit of information, some reminders about the scholarship itself. So this was the scholarship criteria. Our scholarship is for American Indian or Alaska Native students residing in and attending a school or community college or university in Arizona. They must be enrolled members of a federally recognized tribal nation and demonstrate excellence, creativity, initiative, and leadership in school, community, and cultural activities. We were looking for students that exemplified the characteristics of a positive role model in their schools and communities. going to go to the next slide. One aspect of the scholarship was submitting an essay, and this was to be a double-spaced essay on the theme of what responsibility do you hold in strengthening self-determination. So we invited students who were applying to create a questionnaire with 4 questions that they could use to interview an elder or somebody in their community that they considered to be an elder. And we asked them to interview the elder using their questionnaire. And this can be someone, again, that they know, someone they just met, or someone that they connected with specifically for the scholarship assignment. And we asked them to speak with the elder to see if they could teach them a word or a concept in their native language that describes the idea of self-determination. Part of the scholarship's goals are to foster that kind of intergenerational learning and relationship building between students and elders. And we were really grateful, again, for everybody that applied, the thoughtful essays and stories that they shared in their applications. Again, we wanted students to overall explain the importance of self-determination in learning, knowing, and appreciating the role of culture in their specific educational journeys. Just to give a sense for you all what the required documents were and the scoring for the essays, we provided 5 points if applicants submitted a full, complete application form. They were required to submit 2 letters of recommendation, that essay that we just described, a CV or resume. We also asked for them, and this was not aligned with the scoring points, but it is something we needed for the application, which is copy of proof of their tribal enrollment from a federally recognized tribal nation. We also asked them for a copy of their recent school transcripts, and those could have been unofficial. And for college and university students, a copy of their enrollment verification from their college or university office. And then an optional aspect of the application, the scholarship application, was including an artistic expression piece, and that was an extra 10 points. And so students that did submit an optional artistic expression piece really demonstrated their commitment to the scholarship and to the theme. So we are really grateful and to be able to view those as well. We award 3 scholarship awards through our scholarship program. The first for an outstanding American Indian high school student, and they receive $400. We also award an outstanding American Indian college or university student, and they receive $600. And then we also award an outstanding American Indian graduate student, and they receive a scholarship award of $1,000. We were, again, super grateful for the number of applications, the diversity represented in applications. You can see here, this is a map of the high schools and schools attended by our scholarship applicants. We had 20 individuals representing the Navajo Nation applying, 1 person from San Carlos Apache tribe, from the Standing Rock Sioux tribe, woo! Didn't expect that. I never expect to see other Standing Rock people in Arizona, but I do find them, and I find students. 3 affiliated tribes was represented, and the White Mountain Apache tribe. You can see we had quite a few high schools represented, which we were very excited about. Each year we hope to see even more schools represented, just to demonstrate that the scholarship is increasing in awareness out there in the field, and that more and more students take advantage of this opportunity. So thank you all, especially those on the call that shared out the application. For our college and graduate students, we had NAU, ASU, the University of Arizona, Coconino Community College, and Scottsdale Community College represented in our applicants. And for our graduate scholarship, we had Grand Canyon University, the University of Arizona's College of Pharmacy School, the University of Arizona, NAU, and Diné College. So we are very grateful to see not only 4-year universities represented here, but also community colleges and tribal colleges and universities as well. All right, so with that, I would love to, at this point, make space for our scholarship awardees to share a little bit about themselves, introduce themselves, talk a little bit about their educational journey, and maybe share a little bit about what you wrote about in your essay. So the first scholar is our outstanding American Indian high school student, Markayla Shirley. She's a member of the Navajo Nation and attends Chandler High School. And I would love to read just a few excerpts from her recommenders that speak to her outstanding journey in education. So Markayla is a well-rounded student who consistently seizes every opportunity to work towards her goals. Her involvement in the Chandler Indigenous Education Program, coupled with her strong academic performance, sets her apart. Markayla shares her artistic talents and passion for her heritage in activities such as beading, pottery making, and painting. She's a hardworking student who embodies the values of determination, cultural pride, and a commitment to giving back to her community. Another recommender said, Markayla consistently demonstrates and embraces her Dene culture and continues to show the ability to appreciate the rich diversity of experiences and viewpoints. She has a passion for cultural understanding, academic accomplishments, integrity, leadership abilities, and personal well-being. So congratulations to Markayla for being our outstanding American Indian high school student. I'm going to turn it over to you now, Markayla, to introduce yourself and share a little bit about your educational journey.
Hi, I'm Markayla Shirley. I go to Chandler, and I just want to say thank you for everyone who read my essay and who selected me to be the high school scholar. Right now, hold on, what was I gonna say? I have a lot going on right now. I have 3 like big events coming up for my education. And on May 9th, I will be receiving my associate's degree from Chandler Gilbert for general arts. And on May 2nd, I'm going to be at the Maricopa convocation. On April 24th, I'll be having another event that will be promoting me also. I do a lot of beading still. I like to do beading for like my friends and family when they ask me. Coming up in my Native American club, I will be teaching and hosting my fellow like classmates how to bead wristlets and keychains. Yeah, and then in my essay, I talked about like self-determination as a Native American athlete and like how not a lot of Native Americans try with their education, and like how I'm trying to be one of the Native Americans who will get their education and will go to the next level. I also play basketball. I'm on the varsity team. I've been on the varsity team since a freshman. I'm a captain. I'm a point guard. They really look up to me. They like to ask me for help, anything. I talk to everybody. I like to help anyone who needs help. And yeah.
Thank you so much, Markayla, for sharing a little bit more about yourself, what you have coming up. Congratulations. Those
Thank
are
you.
some really big accomplishments. And I want to invite everybody to share some congratulations or support for Markayla in the chat. So thank you so, so much. And again, thank you for being our outstanding high school student scholar.
Thank you. Thank you for choosing me.
Yes, thank you. All right, we'll move on to our next scholar, which is our outstanding American Indian College/University student, Anissa So, who's a member of the Navajo Nation and attends Coconino Community College. And I'm going to read some excerpts from her recommenders. Anissa demonstrated a drive and work ethic beyond her years and showed unusual resiliency. She was eager to learn, and by the end of the semester, she was scoring the highest grade on assignments and evaluations. I believe Anissa is motivated by her family and Indigenous community to manage her time well and balance out her responsibilities. She's a self-determined student committed to personal growth and academic excellence. She also demonstrates a unique passion for understanding and promoting awareness about her Native heritage and culture. Nisa also demonstrates a special passion for understanding and educating others about Native culture and history. So congratulations to Anissa for being our college and university student. We are very impressed with your application, and I want to invite you now to share a little bit more about yourself and your educational journey and essay.
Thank you guys for looking over my essay and choosing it. I think I put a lot of like work into it. I think it was really important to me because it talked about self-determination, and I think that's something I'm really big on, especially when it deals with like Native communities. I like talking about my community especially, and it really like falls back to my family because my family, we are big on like on our traditional practices and stuff like that. And so right now, I go to Coconino Community College in Flagstaff, Arizona, and I'm a CCC to NAU student. So, currently I'm in my second semester in my first year of college, and I'm hoping to transfer to NAU by next fall. So to graduate early and head over there. And I plan on pursuing a bachelor's in public health and a minor in applied indigenous studies. And I think what really like inspired me the most is my mom. My mom's Denise Herder. She works here at NAU. I think she's a program coordinator. And so she basically went on the same path, and like she's really my inspiration, and I'm kind of like following in her steps, and hopefully when she gets a PhD, I'll hopefully be getting a PhD as well. But in my essay, I talked about self-determination in Native communities and how it's important to have self-empowerment, and how you can learn from your family, and it like basically ties to your present and in the future, because I think that's really important. And then I interviewed my grandmother, and she really emphasized on culture in today's culture and like future generations, and how learning is important. And I think that was really, I was really excited, and she was excited to help me, and we just really went. There was more I wanted to put in, but I just kind of went by the requirements, and yeah. And so I submitted a ceramics project, like a little mug at the end, and I think that was really fun. I was really excited because this is my first semester taking ceramics class, and I really I put in like a coil projects like native art and history, and so I'm like really proud of that, and I submitted it to the art show, and so yeah, that's what I did. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anissa. I didn't know that your mother was Denise. I just was on a meeting with her yesterday.
Yeah, she
So
she
that's
she was literally just right here. She was like, "Is that like Logan?" I was like, "Yeah."
well, that's amazing. And thank you so much for sharing more about yourself, your journey, your goals as a scholar. We are very honored and grateful to support you in that journey, and very grateful that you joined us here today. And again, I want to invite everybody to offer congratulations, support to Anissa in the chat. Thank you so much for submitting your scholarship and the artistic work. And we appreciate you being here, and we appreciate your commitment to your community and other Indigenous communities. We have one more scholar who we are going to recognize in today's meeting, and that is our outstanding American Indian graduate student, Cameron Nakadene, who is also from the Navajo Nation and attends the University of Arizona College of Pharmacy. And Cameron was unable to join us live here today, so we do have a short video we'll show from her, but I also want to read some of the excerpts of remarks from her recommenders and recognize her commitment and her journey in education. So Cameron is a special person with a special kind of impact on the people who come into her orbit. She has demonstrated a track record of moving forward. Cameron has consistently demonstrated exceptional academic abilities, strong work ethic, and a genuine passion for furthering herself. Her dedication to academic excellence stems from the family support and encouragement she gets from her community. Growing up on the Navajo reservation has also taught her how to overcome obstacles with limited educational resources. So we're very grateful to acknowledge and recognize Cameron. And at this point, we're going to show a short video from Cameron herself. I think if you, there you go, Kim. Oh, we don't have the sound. You might have to stop sharing. And then when you start sharing again, there's a box you have to check to share audio.
Helen, can you guide me through where?
Yeah, so if you click on share,
Gotcha.
on the right-hand side, there should be a little checkbox that says share sound.
Got it. Okay.
And then this time when you share your screen and press play, it should come across.
Okay. Can everybody see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Let me know if you can hear.
Good morning or good afternoon.
Yes, we can.
I'm Nakadene, and I'm the recipient of the graduate scholarship. First off, I would just like to introduce myself in my native language before I get started, and it's going to be in Navajo. So yate, Cameron Nakadene Yanashia, Kulipan Nishlin, Ki Ani Bashichin, Tachin Dashiche, Arasinijne Dashinale. First off, I'd just like to give a huge thank you to the Arizona Indian Education Association for the scholarship, and thank you for the committee who had also had their support in this as well. Financially, this helps me a lot as a graduate student, but it's also a type of support that I need, and it also helps me believe that I'm on the right career path, especially when I fill something out like a scholarship essay and you guys are able to read what I write, and you guys also believe in the word that I put down. So yeah, thank you. And just a little background, I do attend the University of Arizona. I am in my first year as a pharmacy student. I do attend the Phi Medical Campus here in downtown Phoenix. Yeah, so I started this program. I was supposed to actually start in the fall of 2023, but my journey is not linear. I didn't start in 2023 due to financial restraint and kind of just I was unsure about the degree I was going to go into. 4 years is a lot to commit to. So during that year, I had gotten my pharmacy technician license and had started working in a pharmacy. Through that experience, I kind of solidified my career path. So I came back my 2024 in the fall and had decided that this is what I'm going to do. So far, it's been a really fun journey. It's been very hard. It's been a lot of information, but it's information that I am excited to take back to my community. What really started off this journey is my influences by my maternal grandmother. She was a diabetic and she was also diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Since I was younger, I've always attended her appointments with her going to IHS. She was one of my caregivers when I was younger as well. So I was with her along the journey. I was kind of knew I wanted to be somebody who was going to help other people and also be someone who is of significance in the hospitals as well. And I wanted to be somebody who's going to help others, especially during tough times. And being with her, I knew that I wanted to be somebody who was going to hold valuable information. And through her, she is also a very traditional woman. And a lot of my family members are as well. So bridging the gap between modern medicine and holistic teachings is one of my career goals as well. So coming back to my community, I want to come back and teach cultural competence to other pharmacists and other medical staff. So, we can get better medication adherence. Yeah, that's one of my career goals. So I'm very excited for that. This summer I do plan on attending a rural rotation at the Page location. So I can't wait to come back and serve my community and kind of just teach people what I've learned in this past year. I'm excited for that. And yeah, that's just a little bit of what I have gone through right now and my little bit of my influences to starting pharmacy school. I'm excited to keep going and just thank you for the support. And yeah, so I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Thank you. Good morning or good afternoon.
Thank you, Kimberly. And I know Cameron's not here with us, but I think we can all send her some virtual digital support and appreciation. I know we will let her know and share any of the chat or the recording with our scholars so they can come back to this. But if we move to the next slide, I just want to say overall, thank you so much to all our awardees. Thank you for your dedication to your educational journey, to your cultures, your languages, your communities, the elders in your life. And we really appreciate and hope to be able to continue supporting you all as you move through your educational journey. And thank you again to everyone that shared about the scholarship and to our committee that put in the time and effort to review these applications. We know that that is no easy task, and we appreciate everybody's commitment to this work. So thank you so much. And Kimberly, I will pass it back over to you.
Thank you, Helen. Appreciate you taking the lead on this and helping us out today in Travis's absence. It's so wonderful to see these students on the call with us today and getting that recognition they so deserve. So keep moving forward, students. Thank you for the efforts that you do in your studies. Keep your head high and know that you have support behind you. Prayers are laid down before you and for your pathway to be clear. So thank you again for being here and for joining us for this very special occasion in your honor. So congratulations to all our students. All right, we understand that you are on a time also, so if you do need to hop off, students, please feel free to do so. We're just going to continue with our agenda, but you're always welcome to stay on board and to always come back and feel free to join us at any of our general meetings. All right, so members, we are moving on in our agenda. We'll try and go quickly because we are coming up to our time. So we are going to do some of our old business to take care of a few items. We are still planning to have our summer youth camp that will take place. We are currently looking at the White Mountain Apache area. I do not see Katie on the call, but Katie Parker is in the area. She is also a member of AIEA, but she had shared some information with us about a lodge there in the White Mountain area. We are going to be looking at this site. It's called the Sunrise Lodge. It does have a hotel and cabins that fit up to 16 people per cabin. There's also campsites available, but we will look into what it might cost to hold the camp there. But once we get more information, we will share that out to the general membership. With that, we are looking for some committee members if you are interested in serving with us to plan the summer youth camp. Please drop your name in the chat and let us know specifically for the summer youth camp. We will be sure you are on that list whenever we do call our meeting. We're hoping to meet next week sometime. We're going to be getting some dates that are accommodable for all of our committee members. And so once we set that date, we will also share it out for those who may be interested in helping us plan the summer youth camp. Both Helen and I serve as co-coordinators for the summer youth camp. Really excited that Helen's on board this year to assist. She does great work working with the students, and so I'm looking forward to having her on board this year to help us plan that. But we do have some exciting events and activities that are going to be planned for the summer youth camp. It will take place at the end of July. That last full week, I believe it's July 25th, 26th, and 27th. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So please mark your calendars, let your students know ahead of time. We are going to be getting our registration together, and then once that becomes available and live, we will share that out at that time. And so I'm very excited to get this going. Are there any questions right now or have any suggestions about the White Mountain Apache area. We try and have it not so far south during the summer, just because it's pretty warm in our neck of the woods down here. So, and even in Phoenix area. So if we go into the mountains, we figure it'll be a little bit cooler in that time. But we also account for monsoon season that takes place. We have been in the Prescott Mountains where monsoons came through. It was a refreshing time, and but at that particular camp, we actually had buildings and cabins that sheltered our students. But looking forward to planning this for our summer cultural camp. It's a unique camp when we welcome all of our students across Arizona to be a part of it. Are there any questions, or Helen, do you want to add anything more to that?
No, just that you all can reach out to us. I'll drop Kimberly and I's emails specifically in the chat so that you all can reach out if you're interested in supporting by being on the committee for this event.
Awesome. Thank you. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and let us know. With that, we'll move on to our new business. So again, we just have some upcoming planned events for AIEA. We are currently working with several colleges. The one that we are potentially going to more than likely agree upon and reach out to help us plan our youth conference will be MCC. We're already in contact with some contacts there that it's looking like more than likely we'll have it at one of the colleges with the MCC colleges here in the Phoenix area. But more events or more details for that event will be shared as they become available. As I said, we're in the early planning stages right now and just trying to lay the groundwork for that upcoming youth conference. So we haven't had the youth conference, I believe, since 2016 was the last time we held it. It was held here in Tucson area at the University of Arizona as our partners in that. And so we're looking forward to bringing that back for our Native youth across the state. And so if you're willing to join us on planning this event with the youth conference, please reach out to us and let us know. Travis, our secretary, will actually head up this committee in planning stages for our upcoming youth conference. We're looking at holding it in the fall of this year. We'll see if that will take place. If not, we might move it into the spring of next year, but we would appreciate your help in helping us plan this exciting conference and bringing it back and reintroducing it for our Native youth for AIEA. Next, we have our Educators Award Celebration. We're potentially looking at holding this in conjunction with the OIE Summit that will take place in September later this year. We've been in communication with the OIE office, with Lynanne and her team on trying to get this planned on what this will look like. But again, if you're interested in serving on this committee, please reach out to us, let us know specifically, and we will be sure that you are on that contact list whenever we do have our committee meetings to plan this. We would like to get the application out soon. We know end of the year is coming up and the summit will be here before we know it. So we want to make sure that we get those nomination forms out and that we have plenty of time to review and select the awardees for those selections. And so we'll be planning a committee meeting for this. Again, we'll let you know when that date and time is set, and we will share that out with the membership once it becomes available. Executives, did you want to add anything to that topic?
Just that I'll be overseeing the Educator Awards Celebration Committee. So
Yes.
if you all are interested in joining that working group, please reach out to me. I know we mentioned we want to meet about the youth camp next week, and I'm hoping to convene the Educator Awards Celebration Committee within the next 2 to 3 weeks. So please let me know if you'd like to support with that.
Yes, thank you, Helen, for that input. On next month's meeting, I'll be sure that we have those contact persons on this particular slide so that you will be able to screenshot their contact information if needed. Any questions? All right, if there are none, I did want to highlight a few media outlets that we have for AIEA. We have an outstanding and phenomenal techie savvy person with us on our executive board. So I am going to actually turn it over to our Vice President, Helen, to share some input and some updates in regard to our media outlets. So Helen.
Thank you, Kim. I I appreciate you all calling me techie because I don't always feel that way. So it's validating to hear that. Just wanted to continue to let you all know that the website is updated regularly. For example, if you go to our scholarship page now, it'll say that our 2024-2025 awards have been awarded, and it does recognize our selected scholars for this year's scholarship. But please check that regularly as we move forward with planning these events, like the Summer Youth Camp and the Educator Awards Celebration. More information will be available on our website, including registration and things of that sort. So please make sure you're checking the website regularly. We also have been using our social media to share out information and updates, and that's another great way to get the word out. I know we shared out the scholarship quite a bit on our social medias, and I think that really helped with the geographic representation and just the interest we got from applicants. So if you have anything that you would like added to our website or shared out, please reach out to me directly. I've put my email in the chat a few times, but I do monitor these accounts and I am the main point of contact. So if you have anything that would like to be shared, I know we've been discussing as an executive board, adding a page to our website for resources and events, highlighting community share outs and opportunities. So we would love to start doing that. And we need you all to share your events and resources with us. So thank you so much.
So on that note, this is a time where we would like to hear about the wonderful work that you're doing. If you have any flyers, please feel free to share those with us. I know OIE sends updated flyers all the time, and so we do have a few of their flyers with us that we will be sharing out in a follow-up email as well. But I am going to open it up. We do have a few more minutes of our meeting time left. We do understand that you are on a schedule also, so if you're able to stay and share out some of the important work and hear what other work is being done, we welcome you to do so. So please feel free to unmute and share out any program share outs for what you are doing.
Kim, we do have one more thing that is coming up that is really like region specific, but Helen and I are both involved in it. And so we wanted to share for some of the districts that might be around the Gila River Indian community. If I could get sharing access, I can share this flyer. So what we're going to be doing is, let's see if I can share now. Okay, perfect. So this is the first of hopefully many different regional experiences. We partnered with the Gila River Indian community because our professional learning team is very small. We have 2 of us. And so as people start to understand about what OIE can offer, our requests have increased, and it's been difficult to manage. And so what we've come up with are doing these regional PDs. It's something that that Helen and Lynn-Ann and the previous team started thinking about. So we're trying to put this into action, but partnering with the tribal nation to see if they will be a host site where we could offer PD to those surrounding districts. So this is our first one, and it's with the GRIC. It's really foundational stuff. So we're covering, you know, an introduction to sovereignty and Indian policy. We're talking about all of the statutes that pertain to Indian education, and we're doing culture and history, but from the perspective of that tribal community that we've partnered with. And then after that, we take all of that learning and academic standards to helps us to make connections to the standards to meet those in a culturally responsive way. And so Gila River was the one who decided who would be attending. We took data and said, this is where all your children are. Who do you want to invite? They said everybody. That was 26 districts. So we have done so, but we still have a couple of spots left. So I'm thinking maybe Scottsdale might be a good candidate. If you are interested and from that area, everybody else kind of on the Southern Belt has already received an invitation. Instead of just going and immediately signing up, if you think that your district or your LEA might be interested, if you could please just email me, and then I can give you the amount of seats that we can offer you. And so it's going to be happening on, oh gosh, it's going to be happening on Friday, May 2nd. So we also know that this is pretty short notice, but we would love to have you come if you're available to. That's all I have.
Thank you, Elaine. Any other program share outs?
I can go, Kim.
Feel free.
Okay. All right. So at Chandler, we are finishing up with the, we just had our fourth quarter meeting. It was actually the Title VI public hearing meeting, and that went well. So I'll be working on the Title VI budget, or the narratives, and also the Johnson O'Malley narratives. We are going to be having our 8th senior Indigenous celebration April 28th over at the Chandler Center for the Arts. And then we're also going to be having on May 1st our 8th grade celebration of learning. And that's going to be at the Bogle Junior High School cafeteria. And then we're also going to be having on May 6th our end of the year program celebration over at Fry Elementary at 5:30. So just getting into the end of the year events. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Antoinette. I appreciate you sharing all those events from your school district. Any other program share outs?
I have a program share out.
Yes, Helen.
Yes. The National Indian Education Association has been hosting a webinar series starting last month that focuses on Native educator programs. So last month we had a webinar where we had 3 tribal colleges and universities talking about the programs they offer for Native people to become educators, to get certified. And then on May 7th, we will be having another panel discussion with Native-centered programs, including our very own ITEP in Arizona. So we're looking at programs that are creating pathways for Native people to become educators, specifically designed through our Native ways of knowing and being. So I am sharing the registration for that webinar. It's completely free. It will be recorded. So even if you can't attend with us live and you want access to the recording, please register and join us. We would love to see you all there.
Thank you, Helen. Any other program share outs?
I would like to just share one more event from OIE. So
Sure.
we're going to be doing the policy and program update on Monday next week. And I'll drop the link here. You can register. It's on Zoom. If you're not able to attend, it'll also be recorded. And so let me put that link in the chat. Everyone is welcome to join our policy and program updates.
Thank you, Leanne. I think I actually joined this past Monday thinking it was happening this Monday. So apologies if you see an email that Kimberly Dinkopike has joined. Twice. I tried it twice. But appreciate that.
Yes.
All right. Any other share outs? Sheila?
I'll do a little one with Scottsdale. We actually are having our last parent meeting here in a couple weeks. Wow, it's hard to say that. It's so fast. The parents have stepped up. We are finalizing, we're going over our Title VI budget. So once we can get that organized and approved, and then we'll send that off. JOM, we did that last month, so we're all good to go with that. But we started talking about our convocation that we're having for our seniors. It'll be the second year we're doing this. So that will be on May 16th at one of our high schools, at Saguaro High School. But we proposed a list of things that we would need to our parent committee. And to our amazement, every single item that we requested to have donations of or, gift cards was signed up that night. Some parents even did multiples. So we were pretty happy about it. And we told them to start bringing their items in at this last parent meeting, or we'll come pick them up. So we're kind of really stoked about it. So we're in our final stages of getting everything put together for that. Also, in a couple of weeks, I had to change the parent meeting because I was invited to attend. Coronado High School is doing the Coronado Promise banquet, and 6 of our native students will be also doing this. They make a big thing, like kind of like a sports event where they give them a jersey and they do the whole like signing, like when sports signs off on their, like if they're gonna go to a certain college or something. They kind of do that same idea, but with the Coronado Promise, it's a conjunction from the high school with our district, along with the Charros group here in Scottsdale, that they pay for the first 2 years of college for their students. So it's all these graduating seniors, they all apply, they do their interviews and so forth. It has grown. When they first started doing this, you were doing maybe 4, 5 kids. It has now grown to where they are doing over 40 students from that particular high school, which happens to be a Title I high school as well. So 6 of our students are being recognized that evening. So I was asked to attend the banquet for that because a colleague of mine is also kind of like incoming board president for that. So he wanted to have us included because those were our kids. So I'm really excited about that. But other than that, we're just gearing up for the end of the year. And I do want to thank OIEA for, doing that toolkit. That was really interesting to read. I love the pictures, and Kimberly, I saw yours right off the bat. I was like, there's there's my girl. She's our friend. But, I really appreciate, even with Elaine, I've been to a few of her presentations and love listening to it. Just re-energizes your commitment and our commitment of we're moving forward. So, we're all, as in our native communities, we're all going through turmoil of not knowing where our fundings are going to stand or anything else. But you know what? We're resilient. That's all I keep telling my parents. We're resilient. We're still here. They tried to get rid of us. We're still around. So, I love it. And I also want to do a little special shout out to Antoinette. I know she did not mention this, but her daughter is being recognized by the school board in Chandler this coming Wednesday for receiving the AIEA scholarship. So she has graciously asked us as a board executives to attend if we were able to, but I know Helen and Kim, you're out of area, so I will definitely make a point to be there. I didn't know if Travis was still going to be on travel, but I did email him to let him know. So that way, if he wants to come, I can, we can carpool together. So that's all for me.
Yes, absolutely amazing. Antoinette's doing amazing things there in Chandler School District as well. And I know she didn't mention this either, but as I mentioned earlier, she was on a native talk show recently. I was not able to listen in, but I'm hoping there's a recording where I will be able to. But Antoinette, you're rocking it. So keep your head up and keep moving forward. I know you come against a lot of opposition, but just know you have a lot of support behind you in the work that you're doing. You're doing great work there with your students, and it's being acknowledged. So thank you for what you do. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Sheila, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that. Yes, that. And Kim, yes. Oh my God. I'm all thinking program okay. Thank you. Have a good day.
Wonderful. Awesome. Well, great share outs, everyone. Thank you so much for sharing what you do. Again, for what you do on a daily basis. Appreciate all your efforts for ensuring our Native students have a voice and have a visibility with education. Just a quick update for those who need to hop off, please feel free to. But I just wanted to share that I also serve on a advisory council with the Dickinson College out of the Center for the Futures of Native Peoples. I recently went to Carlisle, Pennsylvania a couple of weeks ago. It was my very first time visiting, and it was very emotional. I think there was one day where I just cried the entire time. I couldn't even talk to anybody. Every time I did, I just broke down. You know, it's such heart-wrenching to actually be there and to stand in the spaces of where our Native children were forcibly taken away and forced to go to these schools. Speaking with other educators, just seeing the landscapes coming from Arizona and going to Pennsylvania, that was my first time there as well, and seeing the different landscapes there, and just imagining of what our children went through and that visual that they had of going into the unknown, and not knowing when they're going to see home again. And just that feeling you get of being away and outside of that comfort zone. It was very, like I said, it was really emotional, but so much support. I met a lot of new relatives that became like family immediately just because of the passions that we have and wanting to continue to advocate for our students. But it was a really emotional event, but it was also heartwarming to see so much support during those spaces where you're uncertain and unknowing. And so it was comforting in meeting people who have that same passion and for wanting to do better for our Indian education. But just sharing a little bit out for other work that I also do outside of AMPHI and AIEA as well. But to be a teacher and to be in this field, you have to have that passion. You have to want to be able to help others, especially our children, because our children are our future. They're our future warriors. So we want to be sure that they are well prepared and have that capacity to uphold our sovereign nations when we journey on out of, into our spiritual realms. And so it's encouraging to see so many educators out there. I'm on social media, so I have different memories that pop up, and just seeing the work that everybody's doing over the years. I just came across one where I did in 2012, and I can't believe it's been that long since I've been here, but just continuing the work that we do day in and day out for our school. I also wanted to share my son is going to be graduating from Fort Lewis College in a couple of weeks. He's going to be receiving his degree in environmental science with a certificate in regenerative food systems and a minor in engineering, and not engineering, in environmental policy. And so we're very excited that he'll be attaining that milestone in his educational journey. But I also want to make note that Fort Lewis College recently announced that they have selected a new president for the college itself. Her name is Dr. Heather Schotten. She is the first Indigenous person to hold that position in Fort Lewis or at Fort Lewis College. And so it's a big accomplishment that she was selected to serve in that capacity. She's also a Kiowa relative, so it even makes it even more meaningful. It's bittersweet that my son's graduating because he won't be there while our term is here. But also for the commencement, they got Tommy Orange, who is an Indigenous author who will be the commencement speaker for the graduation. And so really exciting events that are happening elsewhere within our higher education schools. And so just want to acknowledge those and the work that they do as well. So with that, I just want to say again, thank you everyone for being here, for sharing out your information with us. We sincerely appreciate your time that you are here with us. And we just want to make note that our upcoming meeting will be in May 18th. So please mark your calendars. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our Secretary, Travis, for any questions with that. So with that, we would like to call our meeting to adjourn. So I would like to call for a motion to adjourn at 1:15.
Kimberly, before we move on, do you mean May 16th and not the 18th?
Yes, do
six-
I have this? Let me look. Yes, the 16th. Sorry, today's the 18th.
Yes.
Yes, May 16th is what I meant. Uh, Dates are mixed up. My mind's kind of all over trying to prepare for graduation, but yes, thank you, Sheila. May 16th will be our next meeting date, every third Friday. And so, again, thank you for your time. And now I would like to call for a motion to adjourn.
Hi, Kim. This is Joaquin. I motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Joaquin. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Sheila. All right. Thank you, AIEA. Appreciate you so much for being here and for always continually supporting our organization. So have a great week, and we will see you in a couple of weeks or in a few.